free from offenses. Every day we're going to have opportunities to get upset and offended. People are going to say things we don't understand. Maybe somebody's rude to you at the grocery store, or a coworker leaves you out of an important meeting. Offenses are going to come. That's just a part of life. So many people are living with their feelings on their shoulders. They're easily offended. They let the smallest things upset them. Somebody cuts them off in traffic. They don't even know the person, but their blood pressure shoots sky high. The next 2 or 3 hours, they're all uptight and on edge. But if we're going to live in victory, we've got to learn how to not take these offenses. Just because an offense comes doesn't mean it has to affect us. It all depends on what we do with it. The other day, our son Jonathan and I were at a department store. We wanted to buy some sporting goods, and I tried and tried to get somebody to help us. I could see 3 or 4 employees over there talking, laughing, having a good time, and so I just went over there and very politely asked if one of them could assist us. They no more gave us the time of day. They totally ignored us and just kept talking and talking. And the longer it went, the more I could feel myself wanting to get upset. I could feel that offense trying to take root. And I had to dig my heels in and say, no, I am not going to lose my joy. I am not going to let their sour attitude ruin the rest of my day. After I told the manager, I shook it off and moved on. I'm just kidding, I didn't. The word offense in the Scripture comes from a Greek word that means bait. It's used in reference to how they would catch animals. It was actually the bait that lured the animal into the trap. And when you're tempted to be offended, somebody's rude to you, somebody's inconsiderate, somebody ignores you, recognize that's the enemy offering you his bait. He's saying, come on, get upset, get angry, argue, let it sour your day. Many people don't know any better. They swallow that bait, hook, line, and sinker. They go around day after day, upset, bitter, offended. But we need to be aware of what's happening. The next time you have an opportunity to be offended, instead of falling into that same trap, just say, no thanks, I'm not going to take the bait. I'm smarter than that. I'm going to live my life free. I'm going to enjoy this day. One of the best things we can learn to do is forgive quickly. When somebody does you wrong, learn to immediately let it go. Don't play that offense over and over in your mind and dissect it and try to figure out what they really meant. Don't go call your friends and get their take on it. Can you believe how rude they are? Can you believe what they said to me? No, just drop it. The quicker you let it go, the easier it will be. And some of you would see your life go to a whole new level if you just start practicing this simple principle: forgive quickly. Don't allow the offense to take root. We cannot stop offenses from coming, but we can keep them from dragging us down. And the longer you dwell on it, the more it poisons you, and the harder it is to get free. I had some stain remover out the other day. I was trying to clean a little spot on our carpet, and I noticed the directions said, get to the spot as quickly as possible, hopefully while it's still wet. Why? Because the longer it stays there, the more difficult it is to remove. It's the same way with us. When an offense comes, if you allow that stain to stay in your mind, so to speak, hour after hour, day after day, it's getting harder and harder to get rid of. It's so much easier to forgive right when it happens. I mean, if somebody offends you at 10 o'clock in the morning, and now it's 10:15, your attitude should be, I'm moving on. That's not going to sour the rest of my day. Somebody cuts you off at traffic at 4 o'clock, well, now it's 4:05, that's over and done. I'm not taking the bait. I'm living my life free. And the Bible talks about how we have to put on the armor of God. One of the most important pieces is our shoes of peace. But I've found too many people are going around barefooted. They're always upset and bent out of shape about something, offended at the neighbor because they weren't invited to play Little League, offended at the department store because they wouldn't take something back, offended at their spouse because he left in such a hurry. What's the problem? They're not putting on their shoes of peace. You have to make a decision first thing in the morning that no matter what comes against you, you're not going to get upset, you're not going to get offended, you're going to stay in peace. Have the attitude, if somebody ignores me, that's all right. They're probably just having a bad day. I'm going to give him the benefit of the doubt and move on. Somebody's rude to me, no big deal. I'm an eagle. I can rise above it. Somebody's talking behind my back, trying to make me look bad, that's all right. God is my vindicator. I'm not going to sink down to their level, start arguing. I know God will fight my battles for me. We have to have a made-up mind that we're going to stay in peace. We're going to live our lives free. But too many people are constantly taking the bait. Just like it was candy, they're always being offended. They don't realize they're allowing the enemy to control them. Just like a puppet, he's behind the scenes saying, let's have this person cut him off in traffic, this person ignore him, this person be rude, all day long, upset, getting their feelings hurt, getting into strife, trying to pay people back. No, keep your peace. When the enemy can't upset you, he can't control you. When you're in peace, you're in a position of power. When people do you wrong, just leave it up to God. Trying to get revenge, trying to pay people back, getting all upset, that just makes matters worse. I heard about this man that had been bitten by a dog, and at the doctor's office they told him he had tested positive for rabies. He immediately began making out this list. And the doctor said, oh no, sir, you don't need to make out a will. You're not going to die. We have a vaccine for it. The man said, no, this is not my will. These are all the people I'm going to bite. Just let it go. Don't try to pay people back. The scripture says in 1 Corinthians 13, verse 5, in the Amplified, love is not easily offended. Love is not touchy. If we're going to have healthy relationships, we've got to give people a little room. Don't expect everyone to perform perfectly all the time. The other day I was talking on the telephone to someone, and Victoria came into the room where I was. And every once in a while, when she hears the conversation, she'll want to join in. The only problem is she doesn't have a phone. So she'll communicate to me in this ear what I'm supposed to tell them, and the whole time I was trying to listen to them and listen to her and keep my sanity. After a few minutes, I finally put the phone down. I said, Victoria, I cannot listen to you both. And I said it very nice, but I said it very firm. About 2 hours later, when I noticed Victoria was not speaking to me, I had to preach this message to her and remind her to show mercy, that not everybody's perfect, and don't be easily offended. She always gets my messages before you do. My father used to say, everyone has the right to have a bad day every once in a while. Being in relationship with people day in and day out, things can be misunderstood, comments can be taken wrong, or maybe they're just having a bad day. But you know what? That's okay. There are no perfect people. Learn to let some things go to keep the poison out of your relationship. Some of you, this is exactly what's holding you back. You're too easily offended. You need to toughen up. Don't wear your feelings on your shoulder. Don't be so sensitive to where people have to walk on eggshells around you. Afraid they're going to hurt your feelings. Afraid they're going to get you upset. That's a very selfish way to live. You need to draw the line in the sand and say, that's it. I'm done with being offended. I'm done with losing my joy every other hour. I'm going to live my life free. And I realize there are times when we need to bring things up and say, hey, that's hurting my feelings. I wish you wouldn't do that. We don't overlook everything. But I believe that our relationships and our level of joy would go to a new level if we just give everybody a little room and not be overly sensitive. I've found most of the time people don't really mean to hurt our feelings. We just take things wrong. We're either too sensitive or we're a little insecure. I know people that have a personality that's very direct. They're very bold, very straightforward. They think nothing of telling you exactly what they think. They may see you before work and say, you know what, your hair doesn't look right today, you need to fix it. They think they're doing you a favor. They say it in all honesty and all sincerity. And sure, they could be more diplomatic. They could be a little more tactful, but that's just who they are. We need to be secure enough and be big enough that we don't get offended. And too often, though, we get a little bit sour, and we may not say it to them, but we'll look at them and think, well, honey, your hair doesn't look too hot either. And one day those clothes you're wearing may come back in style. No, just shake it off. Don't take the bait. Don't get upset. Just let it go. Here's a key. If you're always getting your feelings hurt, if you're always upset and offended about something,